In a similar way, I think as much as possible to remove causes. I think you did this because of that. So for instance, a patient fell ill when his therapist was away. So to say, I think you fell ill because I was away, or because your therapist even was away, that nearly always gets rejected, because it's heard as this hugely omnipotent type of statement. Whereas a whole lot of things happen to you. John Jones is away, illness grips hold of you, your boss at work bursts out at anger with you, your therapist is away, and you know this thing, that usually is taken in. Explanations of them may be all right for someone less disturbed, but not at this more primitive level of disturbance. The other thing, and I'll end with this, that it is an interesting thing that these patients with much more primitive disturbance also often have very accurate psychological knowledge of their inner state, much more so than a neurotic or so-called normals, if we think we're in that category. So, for instance, just give you an example. The therapist is about to go away for a month, and in the last session, the patient arrives half an hour late, and the therapist says, "You feel angry that I'm going away for a month, so you've come half an hour late." But this is a mistake. The patient is at the level of action. He acts, he does not feel. And so when you say you feel angry, it's actually incorrect. And the patient will say, "Well, I don't." And he's correct, he doesn't. If he felt angry, he might feel angry, but he might have come on time. He acts. And it's the same sort of thing, that at that primitive level of sort of shapes and colors and tones, there's just action. And again, Freud says that. He says there's no feelings in the unconscious. And you may have noticed I've avoided, for the most part, using the word unconscious. And the reason is, it's often thought of as a type of mythical zone in which, for some odd reason, we're not aware of things. The reason that we're not aware is that it's because the way things, they're structured differently from in consciousness. But it's not under, and this is in that same article I quoted you from Thomas Ogden, he makes this point, and I think absolutely right. He says we gain access to the unconscious dimension of experience by looking into conscious experience, not by looking behind it or beneath it. It's in the conscious experience. And so but it's structured differently, so it's not something that is felt. Once something is felt, then you are aware of it and it's conscious. So I mention that because it's quite difficult to get hold of the idea that there can be things which are not felt. There can be and it's one of the most important things that Bion said. There can be pain that's not felt, guilt that's not experienced, grief that's not felt, and so on. It's tremendously important to speak accurately. Often I've heard people say, and the patient's denying their feelings. They're not. It's not that there isn't a state of feeling there. So I'm just ending with a plea that we all try and speak as much as we can with psychological accuracy. And I do believe that if we sort of go on thinking about this and try to understand more, I think one can actually have very remarkable success with these patients, like Agatha had with this patient, Bernadette. Thank you.